and gentlemen, we are back for season 5 of the Ferris Wheel Rock Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, co-creators, co-conspirators, Mr. Ferris Kennedy. And in the booth to the left of me, a man that only pays $30 for Beatles albums on CD because he was in a rush and couldn't go on Amazon.
Dr. Ian Clarke, thank you very much.
And a man to the other side of the spectrum of the booth who is standing there naked with a toothbrush.
Medicated Wheeler.
There we go. Gents, what do we got going on today? It's been such a long time. I'm glad no one did the quarantine 15, considering we're all been locked up, but everyone seemed to have lost some weight. Wheels, you got less hair now. It's good to hear.
Well, that's weight. I was gonna say, yeah, that's where the weight went.
Take a half a pound off.
That's perfect. So, Ian, are we doing our traditional current events?
Let's do some current events, and to launch it for number 5, I think I'm going to talk about a list I discovered on Ranker magazine. Ranker magazine, as you might know, puts up lists that are voted on by people to come to the website. So it's extremely democratic. This comes from March 2019, so it's not that old. Best Canadian rock bands. Now, there's about 50 of these guys, so I'm going to race through this, but to give you an idea of what people were thinking about a year ago, who were the most prominent Canadian rock bands. Here we go. Number 1, Rush. 2, Tragically Hip. 3, The Guess Who. 4, Neil Young. 5, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Number 6, Triumph. Number 7, your pal, Bryan Adams. Number 8, April Wine, really. Number 9, Bare Naked Ladies. Number 10, Gordon Lightfoot, really, rock. Number 11, The Band. Number 12, Our Lady Peace. Number 13, Steppenwolf. Number 14, Jeff Healey Band. Number 15, Blue Rodeo. 16, Loverboy. 17, Joni Mitchell, really. So Loverboy is better than Joni Mitchell. Okay. Number 18, Trooper. 19, Chilliwack, really.
Really? Trooper's better than Chilliwack?
Wow. Number 20, Tom Cochrane. Number 21, 3 Days Grace. Number 22, Alanis Morissette. Number 23, Arcade Fire. 24, Tea Party. 25, Sloan. 26, Kim Mitchell. 27, Billy Talent. 28, Red Rider. 29, 54, 40. Number 30, Honeymoon Suite. There you go.
Summer tour bands.
Holy Jesus.
They're unemployed this year.
Boys of Summer. And they're eating porridge right now. Number 31, Sum 41. 32, Great Big Sea. 33, Metric. Really? Okay. Number 34, Sarah McLachlan. 35, Saga. Well, that brings back memories. 36, Matthew Good Band. 37, Big Wreck. 38, Max Webster. 39, Big Sugar. 40, Aldanova. 41, Colin James. 42, Sam Roberts. 43, Crash Test Dummies. 44, Headstones. 45, Streetheart. 46, Prism. 47, Finger 11. 48, The Sheepdogs. 49, Lighthouse. And 50, Leonard Cohen. So Leonard Cohen made 50, and let's see who made, Tom Cochrane made 20. Okay. The idea here is extremely democratic. These are what people are thinking of. Perhaps people past 30 don't go into this website and say, yeah, you know what? This is where Leonard Cohen stands in regards to, I don't know, Chilliwack.
I got a problem with that list.
Me too. Well, I have several problems, but
Yeah.
I think also people over 50 haven't been gone on that website either.
First things first, why is Sheepdogs at 48 when they should be honestly in the top? I'll
20 at the very least.
At least. Just because of Brent Boot of Corner Gas. I remember the whole Corner Gas and the way the wheels pronounced. But the thing is that Sheepdogs, it's probably the only thing out of Saskatchewan that's big. You know what I mean?
That and wheat.
But isn't Red Rider Tom Cochrane?
I know, and also Kim Mitchell is what? Max Webster.
But my other question is, Neil Young, is it Neil Young or is it Neil Young with Crazy Horse?
They didn't list it, so
Interesting.
Jeff Healey at 14. Jeff Healey was dead in 2019. So I don't know, whatever.
He died. Actually, he died a while back.
Yeah. So I guess that's cool.
Top
And
50.
Cochrane, I've always had problems with, because if you're a francophone learning to speak English, that name is actually extraordinarily dangerous if you're doing a podcast.
Coquelin. Well, that's pretty good.
So anyway, that's a bit of news, so to speak. Why don't we get into the main gig? And it's I want to talk with you guys about a band. This band represents to me, how could I phrase it? They're the Beatles of the 1970s. And wait a second.
means.
Well, I think I know what that means.
It's time
I hear you knocking. Ian's breath.
Oh, hello.
And now it's time for Ian's Knock, a little segment we like to call the Ferris Wheel Rock Show, where Ian himself will rant and rave on books, reviews, musicians, artists, people, or whatever just does not go his way that day. Who knows? You might be on Ian's Knock, 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 Knock.
Thank you for the introduction. You know, I love books about rock music and rock musicians. I got shelves and shelves of these damn things. But I'm going to knock one today. It's called Words and Music into the Future, a Songwriting Treatise and Manifesto by Michael Copy or Copy. It came out last year. And I suppose the title alone should have scared me. But I was brave. The overall theme of the book, the treatise, is that much of popular songwriting is sloppy, inarticulate, confusing amateurs, and just plain bad. To prove his points, he goes after some notable songs and songwriters, okay. He goes completely ape on Don McLean's American Pie, the Beatles' song I Love Her, and the band's The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, all, of course, all very well known. I won't elaborate on his critiques in themselves, but will assuage the situation with my own kind of treatise. Well, what the hell? Let's hear him on American Pie. So this is right from his book.
Don McLean?
Yes, yep. Bye-bye American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee with the levee was dry. Them good old boys are drinking whiskey and rye, singing this'll be the day that this'll be the day that I die. Okay, this is what Michael writes about that. What I find so annoying is the utter clumsiness. Clumsiness that's not just motored by once and quickly, and so possibly pardonable in a rush of more resonant phrases and melody, but repeated, emphasized, hammered home with all those iterations. Levees are never dry or wet, unless we're talking about a recent rain or drop soda. A levee is not a body of water, but an earthwork that contains a body of water. One might note similarly that a lake or a reservoir might be dry, but not a dam or a bridge, not a levee, period. And rye is a kind of whiskey. So drinking whiskey and rye is roughly equivalent to eating eggs and egg yolks, or watching television and a television show. A stumbling redundancy. Okay, the whole damn book's like that. I don't know what overcame me. I had to read it. You got to drink scotch while you're reading it. You get the idea. He calls The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down by the band historically inaccurate and somewhat illiterate. And it is. And we'll get back to the general mode of his critique in a second. And he really, really, really hates Bob Dylan. And it's so easy to hate Bob Dylan. Millions have and millions will. Dylan is overrated in many ways, and it often seems as he disguises his shallowness under mountains of absurd, childish images and rhymes. We get it. And we know the Beatles song, Come Together, is just gibberish. John Lennon's told us as much. So why go on about it? Look, here's the book knock, folks, right here. Popular music, and especially rock music, is not usually written and performed by raging intellects following prescribed rules for song construction, theories of harmony, and orchestration. Rock and roll has the appeal of a forest, not a painting of a forest. It's the real thing. It's that ground level, the earth, the blood, the sex, the screaming, the general indiscipline and background terror of a playground. That's the attraction. Fast example, how many rock songs use the slang word ain't instead of aren't or are not? Billions, because ain't is a single syllable that's easy to understand compared to aren't. You aren't nothing but a hound dog? It connotes an honesty that the singer is not hiding behind an education that could make him a little too clever in the wrong way. Okay, the book is called Words and Music into the Future, a Songwriting Treatise and Manifesto by Michael Copy. He's a strong writer with provocative ideas who misses the point. To look at it another way, some of the so-called horrible rock songs he talks about are 50 years old and still popular. Still great. Why? Why indeed. Now that would have made a more interesting book. I mean, Clarke, you've been listening to Ian Knox.
That's fantastic. She ain't pretty. She just looks that way. She ain't pretty. She just looks that way.
So basically, he's a grammar Nazi who took a really high dose of cocaine and wrote a book.
God bless the 80s.
But he's one of these guys. Yeah, I know. But how do you explain, like a Rolling Stone? Obviously, he hates women. Yeah, whoever he's singing about Dylan, he's not crazy about her. But listen, it was written in what, 1966? It's still announced a great song, Rolling Stones #1 song. Explain how this illiterate guy who can't write music, he goes after Paul McCartney in a big way, who can't read or write music, write great songs, and he can't. In fact, he lists some of his own songs in there, and they're horrible. They're boring. So the point of it's a magic. You can't explain this conflux of talent and everything else that goes into making a great song, luck, whatever. He's just an angry guy who can't believe Bob Dylan can come out and sing, lay lady lay across my big brass bed, and they have a big hit with it. And it doesn't make any sense. It may not be great for women, but it's not misogynistic. It's just Dylan in 1968. So that's where I stand with it. It's a knock about...
It's most of the male gender in 1968 anyway.
Yeah, good point. Really good point. So that's the way it is. Anyway, you might want to pick it up, ladies and gentlemen, just to flip through. He's a bright guy. He's obviously a PhD type guy. And this could be his submission for the PhD. I don't know. But it's full of gaping holes. He doesn't answer the central question, what about the magic of these so-called illiterates who put out these great songs that don't die?
And he got his PhD at Lakehead University.
So there we go. That was Ian's Knock. Now I want to get back to something.
The meat.
The meat.
It's the meat of this particular episode, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't mention this band, and I want to see if you can guess it. I'm going to call them the Beatles of the 70s. I want you to think. If Graham Parsons, you probably know Graham Parsons. Remember, he used to be with the Byrds. And Graham Parsons and the Hollies had a baby. It would be the Eagles.
Oh, I was going with the box tops.
My baby wrote me a letter. Yeah. It would be the Eagles. The Eagles is the most successful band of the 1970s. There's not even a close second. When I was doing some research of this particular segment, I had no idea. I knew they're successful, but not this successful. They were formed in 1971 in Los Angeles. They won so many awards. I'll get into some of them, I guess. 5 #1 singles, 6 #1 albums in 10 years. 6 #1 albums. You just don't get this. Family members, the late Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner.
Oh, Don Felder wasn't there?
No, not as a founder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. Albums, their greatest hits, 71, 75, and Hotel California, this blew me away, ranked 1st and 3rd, respectively, among the best-selling albums of all time. Like, it's not like, they did really well. Of all time on the planet Earth. And the United States, 71, 75 greatest hits, sold about 40 million copies. Hotel California is up around 30 million copies. It's just, and that's the U.S. They're so popular. So if this as a central theme, this little talk today, it's about popularity. I don't know what the Eagles did, what their formula was. I'll touch on a certain kind of formula approach they had, but they were unbelievably successful. They have sold together more than 200 million albums in the U.S. alone. Their debut album, 1972, they had 3 top 40 singles. So these guys are out of the gate really fast. Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, and Peaceful Easy Feeling. These are all classics. Like, you're launching with that. Desperado, 1973, had Desperado, Tequila Sunrise. 2 huge hits. 74, On the Border. They had Best of My Love, Already Gone. Like, these songs hit it out of the park. 1975, One of These Nights. Everybody knows that song.
One of these nights.
Lion Eyes, You Can't Hide Your Lie. Take It to the Limit. These are amazing. 1975, Joe Walsh joined of the James Gang. Mr. Party, he replaced Bernie Leadon, who had illness. And they continued their success. 1976 with Hotel California. And off they went. And now, I have a stat here. It's up to more than 42 million copies now worldwide. And on that, of course, the first 2 hits were New Kid in Town and Hotel California.
When did Buddy with the long hair join?
Schmidt.
Yes. Schmidt.
Schmidt, they issued the join. They get their haircut. He died in 1977. He replaced Randy Meisner. And they had the album out, The Long Run. Again, another hit. And Schmidt wrote I Can't Tell You Why. Schmidt was with Poco, I think. He came over. And Heartache Tonight. Broke up in 1980. Inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. They reunited in 94 for Hell Freezes Over.
Which we have to explain why.
Yeah. The reason was Don Henley was once asked in the 80s a few times, will the Eagles ever get together again? He said, yeah, they will when Hell Freezes Over.
It's a double LP.
Yeah, no, but the reason. That's what
the reason of the title.
But they did that song, though, where Schmidt sings, Love Will Keep Us Alive.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on there. I have it in my cart on Amazon to order it for $31.
2007, they released Long Road Out of Eden, first full studio album in 28 years. Like, these guys, they have the magic touch. And it went to number 1. Stop it. Glenn Frey died in 2016. They took a year off and went back on the road with Deacon Frey, his son. Like, you can't stop these guys. Like, they knew how to write hits. For some reason, they've always reminded me, as I said, of the Hollies. In that sense, they were great musicians, great harmonies, who wrote great songs. The Eagles could easily do a great job on All I Need Is the Air That I Breathe, big Holly hit, and the Hollies could really nail Best of My Love. So, that's kind of a précis or an overview of 1971 to 1980 Eagles, the most popular band in the 70s.
Could I ask you one question, sure. Doctor? Who hooked up with Linda Ronstadt?
You shut your filthy yapper!
Come on, man. She was hot back in the day.
I knew a guy in high school who was, like, pathetically in love with her. He had, like, I went to his house when he had all posters of her. He was
Did he have candles burning and ensign burning next to the pictures as well?
Thank God he never said, Mr. Lennon? No, yeah. He didn't do that, but he was this German guy, and he was in love with Linda Ronstadt. Yeah, she helped put that band together. Henley was in 1971 in Los Angeles, and he was with a band called Shiloh, an album out produced by Kenny Rogers. Like, you can see how this stuff turns, it's funny the way it all, the more you drill down, the more it makes sense. Glenn Frey was in town. He was from Michigan with a band called Long Branch Penny Whistle. It's such a 70s type of name for a band. Anyway, they got together at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles. Yes, the Troubadour Club. They made a start of Elton John. And that's where they all hooked up. Meisner had been with Ricky Nelson's band called the Stone Canyon Band, who were a great band. And they all got together that way. Bernie Lane was a veteran of the Flying Burrito Brothers, I mentioned earlier. A fellow member was, of course, Graham Parsons. Graham Parsons is kind of the guardian angel of this whole thing. And I suggest you look up Grievous Angel, one of his big good albums, and you'll see how it all fits together. The Eagles didn't come out of thin air. So while on tour with Linda Ronstadt, Frey and Henley decided we got to get together, and Linda Ronstadt, to her credit, encouraged them, and that's what they did. And got together with Meisner, and they signed to Asylum in 1971. Asylum Records was just being started off by David Geffen, so you got a pretty good guy on your side, right? From the David Geffen signs you personally.
And that's a nice accolade.
Yeah,
to have him there.
Plus,
Absolutely.
that's before he gets really greedy. So
well, that's before he becomes David Geffen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and 1/3 of Los Angeles he owns now. He bought out the contracts with Amos Records, and he sent the 4 guys to Aspen, Colorado, to develop as a band. Here's interesting trivia: they did a show in Aspen under the name Teen King in the Emergencies. Like, I mean, can you imagine having that ticket stub now? Talk about valuable. Like, you see the Eagles as Teen King in the Emergencies. They came up with the band name while in a drug-induced outing in the Mojave Desert. I always thought, and I still do, the Eagles is not a very good name for a band. It sounds like a varsity football team. It's like calling somebody, I don't know,
the Dolphins?
Yeah.
What's wrong with the Dolphins, man?
Nothing. It's a great name for a team. It's a shitty name for a band.
Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, that's great. I don't know how anyone never used that before. But anyway,
That's a football team, though, the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's what he means.
That's what I mean.
But they hail from where exactly?
Really Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. So I thought they were more of a southern.
Well, I'll get into that. Everybody did. Yeah, first album was recorded in England in 1972 with Glyn Johns. Glyn Johns, of course, you might know as producer of a band called Rolling Stones. He loved the band. He loved their harmonies. It was released, as I mentioned before, 72. Had about singles, three top 10 singles rather. Desperado came out. During Desperado, they started to dress up like old Wild West guys. If you look at the photographs, they look pretty goofy. But that was their motif at that time. And I'll get into that, the whole new country thing, or alt country. On the Border was the next album, and they started to get a little more rock and rolly, which was smart. They used a new producer called Bill Zumchik, and he gave them Good Day in Hell, which is a kind of more of a rocker. At this point too, they brought in Don Felder. Don Felder is a name that's going to come up later, and not only is the writer of Hotel California, but as the problems they ran into, mainly with Glenn Frey, irritating everybody to the point of lawsuits. And Felder, you'll see him on YouTube, he's the most easygoing kind of cowboy. And he had a big problem with Glenn Frey and vice versa. Next song, Already Gone, reached number 32 on the charts. Okay. Best of My Love did well. Best of My Love.
Yeah.
So the band played California Jam in Ontario, California. I've heard of Ontario, California.
So have I. There's Rod Barajas, who was a catcher for the Blue Jays, is from Ontario, California.
God bless them.
It does exist.
They have more than 300,000 fans, billed as the Woodstock of the West Coast. And they played in the bill. This bill kills me. Some of the bands: Black Sabbath, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Deep Purple, Earth, Wind and Fire, Seals and Crofts, Black Oak, Arkansas, and Rare Earth. Excuse me, like that's a very eclectic collection of.
Has to be the most bizarre lineup ever.
I mean, Rare Earth was a Motown act.
I never even heard of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Didn't they have like just one hit?
One huge hit.
I'm not up to date on my Motown, unfortunately. Gents, I do apologize.
The Eagles released their fourth studio album, One of These Nights, in 1975, and they became international superstar. It was the first in a string of 4 consecutive #1 albums. Dominant partnership songwriting was with Henley and Frey, and of course the title track was a big hit. Of the album. Frey said his his favorite Eagles tune. Lion Eyes was a #2 hit. I remember when that came out. That was a great song. Take It to the Limit was written by Meisner, Henley, and Frey, and the only Eagles single to feature Meisner. They went on a big worldwide tour. 1975, Rolling Stone put them on the cover, and they joined Linda Ronstadt, Jackson Browne, and took Toots and the Maytals, I remember that group, for a show in front of 55,000 people in Anaheim Stadium. One of These Nights was the last album to feature the founding member, Bernie Leadon. Here's some trivia alert. He co-wrote or wrote 3 songs for the album, including I Wish You Peace, with his girlfriend, Patty Davis. Patty Davis is the daughter of then California Governor Ronald Reagan. Like, the whole thing is just so bizarre. Like, there's so many tangents coming in on this thing. Leadon said he was disillusioned with the direction of the band, and he was lost of control, and he preferred country to rock and roll. And one day he just poured a beer over Glenn Frey's head and said, "Man, you gotta cool out." And he left, and that was the end of his participation at that stage with the Eagles. So off we go. Leadon's replacement was guitarist Joe Walsh, who Joe Walsh is like a Mr. Party. He was an alcoholic, did a lot of drugs back then, and he turned them into more of a rock band. He did the lick for Life in the Fast Lane, right? 1976, their second greatest hits compilation came out. I'm sorry, the first one came out in 76. That's the one that sold. They have 2. That's the one that sold better than anything in the world. And in fact, it was the best-selling album until Michael Jackson died. And with Jackson's death, Thriller kicked in with some more sales, and it overtook the Eagles' greatest hits. So there you go. Now it's still Jackson, Thriller, but it took a death.
That album is still phenomenal.
It is, but it's funny though because so many people shit on greatest hits, but when you look at the sales, greatest hits actually are usually the better selling.
I agree.
Sorry.
I agree. Yeah, no, seriously. Like, I'll be honest. I like the Eagles, but you know, I was looking at buying Hotel California, but then I figured, well, let me just add an extra $10 and get the greatest hits, and then I get Hotel California plus all the other songs. Like, because I was reading the whole chart list. Or the track list, sorry, on Hotel California. I didn't know half the freaking songs, you know, and it's just, you're right, greatest hits. What was that one band you said worked for you as a greatest hit when we were talking about it? Was it Journey? No, it wasn't Journey, it was something else. God, it'll come to me, but it was...
I'm having a senior moment.
But Wheels had said, I'm more of like a greatest hits type of guy when it comes to that band. Well, I agree with you because half those albums are no good.
But if you look at the 70s, though, like, it's systematic. Even John Denver didn't really have a best-selling album until he had, like, 3 greatest hits album.
Yeah, I know.
Which nobody actually ever bought, like, the first 3 albums.
Well,
but then you get the greatest hits and everybody loves them.
Often they would just do it fillers. So what do you got, John, for the album? I got 2 songs. Well, let's get some filler in. And they'd be cover songs.
Yeah.
Like Elvis songs or something. It'd be a really good start and a really good finish in between her. Yeah. Okay. Like that's it. That's all you got. Yeah. So.
Although that's what killed the CD to a great extent when you think about it. Because the CDs now you had 80 minutes. But there's really, 10 minutes of interesting music?
I know.
And
I like
the rest is...
I noticed that now with the vinyl concept, and when I put on a vinyl, and Shea 106 is good at doing this because every Sunday nights they do a vinyl series, and it's only an hour. Mm-hmm. So each pressing, you obviously know it's 60 minutes. No commercials, no nothing. It was with Howard Manshine, he just puts it on, and you know, what was it? The weekend before Father's Day, I was with my dad at his place, and we listened to the Ziggy Stardust on the vinyl series.
Ziggy played guitar.
Yeah, it is. Ziggy played guitar. So my brother even got into David Bowie all of a sudden. So, yeah, go figure that one out. So I'm sure Cosmo would be appreciated.
That being said, for our listeners that are not situated in Ottawa, the station that Kennedy mentioned is an Ottawa station.
Oh yeah, but you can get it online.
Sure, as well.
Well, that's where we get it when we're in Los Angeles.
That's it.
It's like, do you hear some cocktail music somewhere?
I think I do.
What the heck is that music?
And now, Yes or No with Ferris Kennedy, the segment where the sick, drug-addled mind of Mr. Kennedy forcibly asks Dr. Clarke and medicated Wheeler yes or no questions about classic rock, and you get to hear the sick, drug-addled answers.
I will ask anywhere from 5 to 7 questions to each one of you gentlemen, and you just answer yes or no. And if I feel that I want to get more of an answer, I'll just pinch your nipples.
Help me, Rhonda.
So
that's why we have electrode on our gonads.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So there's something else.
So here's the first question. The first question is for you, Dr. Clarke.
Yes, please.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do you like AC/DC? It's just yes or no.
No.
Go to hell.
The highway to hell.
Highway to hell. All right.
Highway to...
Second question for you, Dr. Clarke.
Yes.
This is a conversation you and I had. Do you agree with my statement that blues music is a heavier version of country music?
A heavier version of country music. I would have to say no.
Okay. Dr. Clarke?
No.
Yes or no? Was Anne Marie known for wearing pantsuits in the 70s?
Yes, among other things.
Perfect. So we start off
Polyester ones.
We start with nice 3 little questions for you, Dr. Clarke. Now we're going to go 3 little questions for Mr. Wheeler. Stephen, do you like Depeche Mode? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Lord, no.
Okay. Would you agree that Steve Perry was the voice of Journey, and when he left, they went downhill from there? Yes or no?
God, yes.
Okay. Third question. Do you like Rush?
Rush from the 70s, yes.
Fantastic.
You passed.
So,
Rush from the 80s, God, no.
all right. So now we'll go to a couple more questions to Mr. or Dr. Clarke. Is it true you'd rather see the Runaways perform nude over going to see Bruce Cockburn live?
Don't we all?
Wait a second, that's tough. Let me think that out. Now, if Bruce was nude too. No. Yeah, okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay.
I guess.
Dr. Clarke,
Yeah.
rumor has it you purchased the Beatles Abbey Road 50th anniversary CD for $30, and I purchased the same thing on vinyl for $25. Yes or no?
No. The question is, did you get?
Oh, yeah. Did you get screwed, or the way Ross would do it in Friends?
My lawyer represents me on this answer. And I defer all questions to him at this point. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that when John Lennon left the Beatles, that if they would have added Johnny Hutchison and Billy Preston full time, the albums Band on the Run and All Things Must Pass would have been 2 extra Beatles albums? Yes or no? And answer it truthfully, and obviously you know where my mind thinking is.
I'm going to say, it's a great question, and I'm going to say yes.
We have it on record.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. We could do a show on that, and that's one of those great what if. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question for you. Do you believe that ZZ Top's Eliminator album brought them into new musical heights and helped them establish themselves in classic rock?
Oh, yeah. There's no question, yes.
Fantastic.
Eliminator was huge.
Wheeler,
Yes.
did Stompin' Tom Connors put Canadian music on the map?
A certain kind of music, yes.
Great. Do you find Biff Naked attractive?
Do you find Connors attractive?
It's a girl, you know that.
No, of course, yeah. No, for her type, yes.
Okay.
She's not my type. Let's put it that way.
Can movie soundtracks boost certain artists' careers?
Oh, Lord, yes.
Okay. And I think I am... Oh, we'll save that for next time. I am done for my yes or no.
Adios, amigo. And with that, we're going to return to the best of my love, the Eagles. And we're going to get back to Hotel California, released in December 1976, the band's 5th studio album, and the first to feature Joe Walsh. The following album, Hotel California, which you all know, was released in December 1976, basically 77, 5th studio album, and the first to feature Joe Walsh. Took a year and a half to make that album, and they were really drained out. I mean, this is kind of the beginning, the serious beginning of the end of this band. New Kid in Town became the Eagles' number one single. Second single, of course, was the Hotel California. It became their signature track, right? Henley on vocals, and songs written by Felder, Henley, and Fry. Life in the Fast Lane with Joe Walsh came up with that great riff that every garage band knows. Victim of Love. That's an interesting song because it was really the beginning of the end of Don Felder. He was going to sing that song. The other guys didn't think he had the voice for it. They kind of tricked him, and who laid that down? I guess Henley. I'm not sure who did the vocal on that one. Don Henley laid that down, and that really ticked off poor old Felder, and that was the beginning of his exit. Hotel California is the last album to feature founding member Randy Meisner. He left the band in '77, so you can see what's happening here. This is starting to splinter. Frey and Meisner they were in a lot of arguments, and Meisner quit after the tour and was replaced by Timothy B. Schmidt.
Oh, Timothy Schmidt.
Excuse me, Schmidt, we have a job for you. In 1977, the group minus Felder performed instrumental work and backing vocals for Randy Newman's Little Criminals, including Short People. Who knew that? There's some interesting trivia. Short People, as the Beatles, says the Eagles on the back. 77, they went in to record their next album, The Long Run. Took 2 years to make it, so you know these bands are in trouble. 2 years to make it. Big commercial success. Again, it topped number one, topped the chart, 7 million copies sold. Included 3 top 10 singles. These guys are like the Beatles too. They're just going full bore into the end. They definitely didn't rust away, you know. Heartache Tonight and I Can't Tell You Why, which was written by Schmidt. 1980, Long Beach. They finally it's called The Night with Long Night at Long Beach. It's called. They kind of a slang used in the bands. It's because when Felder and Fry actually began punching each other on stage.
I would love to have seen that.
Yeah, or close to it.
A little bit of a UFC.
Yeah, kind of like Sid and Johnny Rotten.
John.
The band had a commitment with Elektra Records. They made a live album. And that was 1980, and that was really the end of the Eagles. Now, I'm not going to go over what they all did from 1980 to 1994.
They did nothing. Drugs.
See, they were a lot of drugs, but they did successful stuff. And Henley had a good.
Well, Henley, he was the exception, I think, to the rule, just because he was a drummer and he could find work anywhere he wanted. Because you could always, everyone needs a drummer now and then.
A good drummer.
A good drummer. He's no David Grohl, okay?
No.
But, he's no Hal Blaine or Kenny Aronoff or Tommy Lee or whoever. But, he had I agree, he had a good, very successful solo career. And I think actually Glenn Frey did. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
You tell me what they call a drummer with no girlfriend.
Unsuccessful?
Homeless.
Homeless.
It's an old joke. I had to do it though. They're united in 1994. They went on tour. The Hell Freezes Over. They made a live album over it. They released a studio album. They had a hit with a song called Get Over It and Love Will Keep Us Alive.
Timothy B. Schmidt.
Yeah. Schmidt, get in here.
Schmidt!
You need a song, Schmidt. You've been dragging your stuff around too long.
You've been just riding coattails, Schmidt.
Yeah, you can collect royalties, but Schmidt, you better put yourself together. Long Road Out of Eden was their first album of all new stuff since 1979. Oh, God. Okay. As I wrap it up, to get kind of a macro perspective on it, where did these guys come from? 1960s rock bands such as the Byrds, Buffalo Springfield. The Eagles have been described as California rock. Rolling Stone described them as country-tinged vocal harmonies with hard rock guitars and lyrics. Okay, this is all cool. The group's sound has been described as country rock, soft rock and roll folk. In later years, the band became associated with the term album rock or arena rock. Okay. If each successful rock group was a guardian angel I mentioned before, theirs would be Graham Parsons. Listen to some of Parsons' stuff and you'll see what I'm suggesting. So for whatever reasons, beginning in the early 1970s, America wanted to hear West Coast country rock. I don't know why. I got a theory. And it wasn't just the Eagles. You had Jackson Browne, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris, Loggins and Messina, Seals and Crofts, kind of Steve Miller. I mean, the Grateful Dead. And my theory is that after the tumult of the 1960s, all the problems, people just wanted to chill out. And the Eagles was the ultimate chill out band. A lot of guys lit up bongs listening to Hotel California because it was chill out music. It was kind of hepped up country music. And that was part of the formula. They had gorgeous harmonies. So that's my little backgrounder on the Beatles of the 1970s.
Well, they forgot to mention that it was Linda Ronstadt's backing band, or her touring band at the time.
Yeah, they played one gig with Linda Ronstadt. They played Disneyland or Disney World, whatever it was back
The one in California is Disneyland. The one in Orlando is Disney World.
Yeah,
Probably Disneyland.
Yeah, I'll probably say Disneyland because it's the older one.
Yeah, they're west.
And it's California.
And it's nicer.
I don't believe we're actually talking about this. Anyway, that's what they were doing. So that is the Eagles. And I don't know. Again, maybe I'm hearing this ringing in my ears from the last time we heard some cocktail music.
And we are hearing some cocktail music
I'm
again.
hearing it again, and I don't know what it means.
The music at night, it sounds bright on Wheeler's turntable. He shines a light, he keeps his vinyl in sight, and gives you his magnificent review. Now here's a clue we have for you. It's time for Wheeler's Vinyl Review.
Okay, so there is something that you guys have to know. Like, some of you are probably new to collecting vinyl records.
That's me.
But
I used to just buy them,
but they
I
are
didn't collect them.
But it is not the easiest thing in the world. There is pressing. There's so much other stuff that comes into it. So what I'm trying to do is maybe guide you towards something that's more interesting, or sometimes one of these editions that you want to get your hands on. And today, in honor of Dr. Clarke, we're going to talk about the Abbey Road 50th Anniversary Remix.
The $30 CD that he paid.
Which I gave as a gift to someone.
And you got screwed over.
After I told the guy it's a gift.
And I got it for $25 on Amazon. Vinyl. Brand new. Sealed.
Not the one I'm going to talk about,
Okay.
though.
All right.
Although it is more or less, it is the same basic edition. The one I'm talking about is from Apple Records. It's a 180 gram LP, which you get with 2 bonus LPs, three deluxe CDs, and a Blu-ray.
Jesus. There's no way you can get that for $30.
No. So this is for the real collectors out there.
I'm just really curious what's on that.
So, of course, there's no point in me telling you guys that the music on it is amazing. It's not a 10 on 10, it's an 11 on 10.
Yeah.
But this edition, the sound is great. You have to remember, like, to anybody born before 1970, the Beatles were more than a band. They were relationship advisors, fashion gurus, to a certain extent, your drug dealers. So a lot of people that are going to buy this stuff are going to buy it no matter what I say here. The 50th anniversary edition is really interesting because it's a remix by producer Giles. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Giles or Giles?
Giles. In
Giles
America,
Martin.
I think it states as Giles, or Britain it's... You're thinking Quebec, Gilles.
Well, exactly.
Hey, Gilles.
Gilles Martin.
Gilles.
Number 24. Pour les habitants.
Yeah, Gilles.
And his mix engineer, Sam Ockel, who both have been responsible for all these re-editions these last few years. And they're working from the original 8-track session tapes, which in this day and age is really rare. Usually people are working off digital files.
Well, this is Dad's stuff, so the guy,
Exactly.
he has really good access.
So these are amazing remixes. So a lot of people may wonder, like, why should I buy this instead of an original pressing, which I can find, like a really crappy one for $2, a decent one for about 15, or a new one maybe for 30. Well,
Shut up!
so the thing you have to know, the CD actually has the same problems people have been saying about CDs for the last 30 to 40 years, which is there's a problem with the bottom end and the high end.
Yeah,
Everything's very clinical on a CD. So what they've done with the vinyl LPs is actually they've cleaned the sound. It's almost completely analog from one end to the other. And what Martin has done is he's actually played with some of the EP, the EQ on it to correct something that we no longer have a problem with, which are shitty turntables that people had in the 60s. So what you have to know is in the 60s, most people, like 80% of people, had a very horrible turntable, which is one of the reasons why people think of LPs as a medium that gets bad real quick.
Oh, they were like plastic lathes when you would curl off the wax on some of them.
Exactly.
They were horrible, some of them.
So they done the EQ basically so that now you're hearing basically what the guys heard in studio. And so some of you might wonder though, if you talk to your dealers, there was an LP that came out in 2011 which is now extraordinarily cheap. So why wouldn't I go buy that one instead of this one? Well, that one was not remixed. That one was made from digital files, and it's apparently, to a lot of people, it sounds like pure crap. Like it sounds like a bad CD.
It sounds worse than the original.
It sounds worse than the original. So, and there are certain things that you can actually really pick up easily when you listen to it. One of them is "Here Comes the Sun" from George Harrison. It used to be that they played basically on one speaker. Like you had the voice on one speaker, the guitar on the other. Now everything has actually been centered. They actually now understand a lot more stereo placement, spatial placement. There's a lot more going on now than you can actually find on the original.
That's a good point. Yeah, when stereo came out, they went crazy. They kept the voices on one side, and often they dumped everything. It doesn't sound good.
No, exactly.
You know.
And they're a mono band originally, anyways. Not for this album specifically, but they are a mono band.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, a lot of people are afraid that they're going to boost the bass. Because that's when you see something called remastered, usually for CDs, it just basically means for most of this stuff, we boosted the bass like nuts. So you don't have to worry about this. With this one, it's actually been done very smartly.
Good.
And the other reason why you might actually want this edition is there's actually incredibly beautiful book. It comes with a bound book edition. And you have so much information, your brain's going to go in Beatle overload.
Oh, wow.
You've got the original posters that are coming with it. And if you have a Blu-ray with a home theater system, there's actually a 5.1 mix. So
okay, I see what they did.
So it's really
that's insane.
So for you guys out there that maybe either are Beatle freaks, getting into vinyl records now, or have a dad that's really into the Beatles and you're looking for that perfect gift, this could be it. So the Abbey Road 50th Anniversary Remix with book, 3 LPs, 3 CDs, and a Blu-ray.
And it's probably still cheaper than Ian's $30 copy that he got at...
Wait a second, Ringo will show up and deliver it to you for $250.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's your EP.
I like his thing. What key is in it, Robbie? F demented. Well, that was fantastic, Wheeler. So this is great. So that wraps up our first show of season 5. Great to see everybody back. We're back on track, and just one small little tidbit note, that song, Here Comes the Sun, is my niece Sienna's favorite song.
Oh, really?
She has great taste.
She loves that song, and she could recite every word to it. And she's only 3. God bless her. So, yeah, here we go. So anyways, we're going to sign off. So to the right of me here,
Medicated Wheeler.
and to the left,
Dr. Ian Clarke.
and I'm yours truly, Ferris Kennedy. Adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu.